Raheem DeVaughn.
Yes.
I said it right.
Yes.
Welcome to South Africa.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to Ritevac TV.
Thank you.
I mean, you know, it's quite an honor for me to be talking to you because I actually grew up listening to your music.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs that you did was You.
Really?
So I'm just like, oh, he's a passionate writer. So I need to ask you,
Yes, go
before
ahead,
I get into
you can dive right
some
in.
interesting questions,
Okay.
what inspired you to write that song?
You know, at the time, that was like 13, 14 years ago, since that album dropped, 2005. I wanted to create something that touched and moved people, but women in particular. An anthem that made where every woman would play that record and be like, "That's me. I identify with that record," you know. And for men, you know, every man or significant other has that one person that they feel that way about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's anthems. You know, I try to create anthem music, feel good music, something that's vibrant, that makes women feel beautiful. You know, inside and out.
You achieved that?
Yeah, thank you.
So I mean, your music is timeless, and it's still relevant till today. You know, what advice do you give to a new artist to create music that is sustainable? Because I mean, for you, for example, you said 2005, but it's 2019 today, and we still listen to that track. So like, what does it take to make an artist sustainable in their music?
I think for me, you know, staying power is about consistency, originality. You know, you have to be a risk taker in your music. Don't necessarily try to do what everyone else is doing. You know, I think sometime in the 90s it became cool to kind of like carbon copy whatever everybody else is doing. You know, it's really hard to decipher who's who nowadays, even in the R&B culture, let alone the hip hop culture, because everybody sounds like mini me's of different people. You know what I mean?
That's very true.
You know, I even hear a few clones of myself out there.
Oh,
but you know what I mean.
You said that.
but it's cool. Like imitation is a form of flattery as well. And on a serious note, you know, when I first started out, before, you know, music that was published and put out, probably everything sounded like a Babyface or a Jodeci song. You know what I mean? So everybody's inspired from somewhere or someone. But it's the goal is to ultimately, hopefully, you come into your own.
Be authentic.
Yeah, where you have an authentic sound and tone, and you know, I'm one of those. I'm a firm believer that in life, either you're an asset or a liability. You know what I mean? When you're an asset, you deliver something that only you can deliver it the way you can, and it's authentic. So that's something that I try to focus on in the creativity of what I do. Probably the toughest thing is to find new ways to tell a story of love and talk about love and different subject matters, being as though there's certain things that I don't want to talk about, or certain language or ways that I refer to women that, you know, I choose to refer to women on record versus how some of my peers may do, you know, and tearing them down and calling them out their name, and that's not fly to me. You know what I mean? Like, I come from an era of, like, you know, again, like where R&B, I grew up on music that was fly. Like, you never heard Marvin Gaye call a woman out their name on a record. You never heard, you know, Prince call a woman out of, you know, call their name out on a record. You know what I mean? Or Sade, like, disrespect a brother on a record, or, you know what I mean? So music should be uplifting. It should be a positive vibration. It should be love. It should be something that creates intimacy, physical intimacy, but also mental stimulation as well.
Wow. Sure, I'm gonna remember that. So it leads me to my next question, because I'm passionate on young love. Like, I love love, and you know, a lot of people always ask, what's the foundation of true love? Yeah. You know, so what would you put in your ingredients of what makes a strong love?
The true foundation of love for me is, you know, self-love. Is loving yourself, because you can't love anybody until you love yourself. You know what I mean? And knowing your worth. Knowing the things, knowing the ugly part of you too. You know what I mean? Because we all have bright and vibrant parts to us, but we also have the ugly things, the addictions, the pain. You know what I mean? And if you can't address that, then you just, if you can't deal with that, then you probably are lying to yourself about a lot of things, and eventually it all comes to head. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, self-worth and love. I mean, you know, and understanding what the Creator's love and the universe's love for you is very important as well.
Sure, self-love is important. So I want to know what inspired the title of your new album, Decade of a Love King.
Decade of a Love King.
Yeah.
I have a reputation for being a lover, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Poetically speaking, as a soul and R&B singer, as a crooner. This album is a celebration of the first decade that I've been able to experience and with my fans, as a soul singer, as an R&B singer, as a crooner. But it's also a celebration of what's to come as well. Like I'm already on my second decade. The first decade was nice. Like it's my goal to be one of the biggest artists, American soul R&B artists to touch down in Joburg. You know what I mean? Like I want to make history. I'm not here to be number 5, 2. I'm here to be number 1. I'm here to be great. You know what I mean? So it's but that's without the fireworks or the pyro or the reality shows or the juicy gossip or bad decisions. You know what I mean? Like I want to be known for the authenticity of great music, and I want to be known as a humanitarian and as an activist. You know what I mean? As well, those things are very important to me in the legacy that I'm creating. So so I do take thought into like the messaging and even where it's very sexy and seductive and sensual, I feel like music should never be like ratchet, and it still can be very classy and poetic and a savoir faire to it.
I suppose that also makes music sustainable. I mean, finding your voice, as you said. So I know that everybody loves the single Don't Come Easy.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, my favorite is Wifey. And I want to know, what inspired you to write that? Because I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was for Wifey. That was a different way to, again, anthems, you know what I mean? Something that celebrates matrimony. Something that celebrates for those that are practicing monogamy, you know what I mean, like, but also tears down those walls of like shaming women and I don't know if we can curse on this show, but I want to, but calling them out their name, for you familiar with the record, so I always wanted to find a cool way to use those words that are used to shame women, but to say them, but still denounce what they mean. So that's kind of like where I say that you're not this, you're not that, you're not that. You know what I mean?
Personally, I like that because we are in the generation where calling women certain names has become one of the biggest trends.
It's become the trend. It's like the norm. To the point that, I'd be to say I've never used those words would be a lie. You know what I'm saying? Like you say certain things in banter or whatever, and you try to. It's crazy how we programmed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the reality is, it's like when you listen to certain things, once you listen to it once or twice, you're indoctrinated by it.
Absolutely.
I believe so. I again, these are choice decisions that I make that I don't want to say in my music, that I feel like it's so that in that form, music can be therapeutic for not only for myself but for the listener. You know what I mean?
I do appreciate that. I think personally for me, music, when you listen to lyrics, you recite them and you recite them and you recite them. And I suppose this is why a lot of people are so used to calling women such different and vulgar names, and like it's a norm. I mean, us women do it ourselves. When we call our friends, we don't be like, hey girl, we call each other, vulgar names. And I suppose it just speaks to how powerful music is, and music is a form of healing as well. So I know that you have very passionate initiatives that you are interested in, such as domestic violence and art and education. So, I want to find out from you. It could be a tough question, but why do you think women, even men, stay in abusive relationships, whether it's emotional or even physical? Like, why don't we
I think a lot of times we're creatures of habit. For women in particular, you have some women who feel like, depending on your walk of life, you may feel like you might not have the proper education. You have this man that you're dependent on. You and your children are dependent on them, at the bare minimum. But you don't have to be a prisoner to your own pain. Mental or verbal abuse. If there's trades you can learn there's things you can learn to help yourself and to help your children. We got to remember as parents, and whether you're married or dating or what have you, like the children are always watching. So they you create that creature of habit.
They learn.
Yeah, they're learning. They're always learning and watching. You know what I mean? A lot of times, we don't recognize our self-worth. You know what I mean? We don't realize that there's something out there better. That there are men and women out there that will not physically or verbally like abuse you. You know what I mean? We try to encourage the women that we support, through the foundation, of course, to walk away from those situations. It could be the matter of life or death, not only for you, but for your children.
Sure.
If you choose to stay in a relationship, we encourage the men, get counseling, get help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you really break down those walls, you find some men who and no way am I making an excuse for them. I want to be clear on that. But you find that some men witness that in their household as young.
And think it's okay.
Yeah, you have some women who saw their mother encounter it. And their mother saw their mother encounter it. Or, they believe, they've been taught to believe that, well, if he hits me, then that means he loves me.
Sure.
Like, that's BS. That's not love.
Man.
You know what I mean? I made a record about it years ago called Black and Blue, which we're starting to activate with that record and use it in different movements and partnerships throughout the world, to remind women what love is. When we're speaking about domestic violence in particular, where we say, what kind of man is that to you to love you till you're black and blue? There's something I would never do. I never put my hands on you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow. I think for me it's such a touching topic, because a lot of women do believe that this is a form of love. Like if he raises his hand to me, that's him telling me, no, I love you, but I'm just correcting you. And a lot of the times it's so easy for people that haven't experienced physical abuse to be like, no, just stay, maybe just stop what you're doing here. And
Well, to be clear, there's different types of abuse. You got sexual abuse.
Yeah.
You got physical abuse.
Emotional
you got verbal.
abuse.
You got an emotional and mental abuse, verbal abuse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to recognize the traits. And it's nothing to be ashamed about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's something that we encourage men and women as well.
I think the issue also is that we become hopeful.
Yeah.
And we hope that the person's going to change, but then they just don't ever change and you keep on staying,
Yeah.
But I think it's very important to break the silence and bring awareness. So,
I agree.
I commend you for that.
Thank you.
That leads me to my next question on a lighter note. What brings you to South Africa?
Well, I'm here to promote my new album, Decade of a Love King, which is album number 6. Doing streaming heavy in the States. We've been getting a lot of great feedback. We got physical copies, CDs. I know people still buy CDs here in Joburg. So hit your Musica locations. Follow me on Spotify, Raheem DeVaughn on Spotify. Follow me on all digital platforms where where you like to listen to your music, Apple Music, iTunes, what have you. Let's continue to run the numbers up. It's album number 6, Decade of a Love King. Of course, the first single, Don't Come Easy, which is the perfect Sunday music. You know what I mean?
And even I must say, even the track Reverse.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, Raheem. Yeah. I mean, damn, you guys need to listen to this album because I heard Reverse and I was like, oh. Okay, I need to ask, like, what were you thinking in the song? Because, I spoke to a friend and she's married and she's like, listen, this song you play for your husband.
Nah, music is music. Yeah. Music's supposed to bring people together. Like, I definitely push the envelope.
That brings people together.
I like to push the envelope poetically and sexually and I'm a Taurus. I'm a very sexual person. You know what I mean? And by the way, just putting it out there, sex responsibly to my music. You know what I mean? I have a huge partnership with the AHF, which is the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. I'm aware of the statistics. You know what I mean? And we're gonna be coming over to build on that as well. There's a lot of our young brothers and sisters being affected by HIV and AIDS. You know what I mean? So. Although, I make the music to bring people together, I feel like it's my responsibility to say, hey, like, yo, let's create that campaign where it's cool, because you can't tell, we're dealing with the demographic of, let's say, 15, 16 to 24, 25 and 30 and whatever your age. Make it cool to use a condom. Make it cool to know the status.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you're playing the music, like, we got to break down the taboos. Whether you're Christian or a Muslim or what have you, people are still engaging in activity.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
by the statistics of what we hear. So, I that's my gift, to bring people together and create that intimacy. But please, like, protect yourself. Like, no, when you rocking to my music, it's cool. Like, that's the new cool. Throwing that condom on.
Yeah, protect yourself is also a form of self-love.
Yeah,
as well.
saying self-love.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
I must say that your music, it like you said, it's sexual, but it's passionate and there's love. And for me personally, in 2019, we're missing music that speaks about love. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that about your album. There's a lot of intimacy, and I mean, all married couples, we need that.
Yeah,
you know
for sure,
what I mean?
for sure.
So I mean. Like,
Something. And if you are married, this is something great to bring the magic back. You know what I mean? Like, if you single, this is something that can create that spark. That the great music they have in the back for that conversation piece while you getting to know that person.
Candlelight dinner.
Yeah, that whole nine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that.
It's slow burn. It's slow burn. I call my music slow burn. Here we call it Sunday music. I guess I'm becoming the king of Sunday music. I don't know. Crown me.
Crown me. On Sundays in South Africa, we listen to a lot of love.
Yeah. That's what's
music.
up.
It's the right day to play those jams.
That's what's up.
I need to ask. Since you've been in South Africa, has anybody asked you to say the name Xhosa? Anybody? Xhosa. Almost trying. Yeah, you got it. I need to ask, because a lot of people always are so fascinated about saying Xhosa, and they miss that click. Is it difficult for you to say?
Nah, it wasn't that difficult, but you should definitely tell me what it means.
Well, it's the language. It's one of the languages in South Africa.
Got you.
So, I mean, there's Zulu, there's Tswana, there's Sotho,
I'm hip.
Sepedi,
Like,
Xhosa, you know.
one of the things is I just came from Ghana. I just had a journey, went to the door of no return and walked back through the door of great return.
Sure.
And just, one thing, I love being here. But it hurts me too, because I'm reminded every time I come to the continent of all the things I was robbed.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That were taken from me.
Wow.
Like, that based on what that happened to my ancestors, being as I was born in America. And I don't take that for granted. I am African.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I've slowly been peeling the layers back on understanding where I'm from and my culture, and finding my people and my tribe and my native tongue and all of that. Because it's like, I can't even enjoy the culture and the conversations sometimes. And I don't, to someone who may be ignorant, that's quote unquote American or African American, that they may think, well, somebody's being rude because they're having a conversation. It's like, nah, those are our native tongues.
Sure.
Those are the things that we lost.
Sure.
Over a span of 400 years. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This year marks the 400th year that the first slave ship touched down out west, and in a land known as America. And although I wouldn't even be able to be who I am through the process, ironically. That's the irony in it.
Sure.
And I'm thankful for I'm thankful for my career and what have you, but this home for me.
This is home for you.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, technically I'm West African, so I'm from Cameroon
Wow.
and Guinea-Bissau, the Tika and Balanta tribe.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So,
but I appreciate what you're saying, because I think a lot of people also, and please do correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But in America, they have this specific look of that South Africa is.
I think it's
there's no roads, there's no development.
The people that don't get out. I'm constantly letting it know when I go back. Like, and I've never been ignorant to that. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's just something as simple as just like going on the internet instead of just being on Instagram, going research.
Absolutely.
It's booming out here.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? And there are undeveloped territories too, but that's for opportunity and what have you. But a message to my brothers and sisters here though: beware of the Western ways. Don't let the hype fool you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, beware of the Western ways. Like, keep your culture and don't, like, because when you look at like the designer stuff and the Gucci and a lot of that stuff is not
Don't be
made.
fooled.
It ain't made for us. Like, you know
Wow.
what it ain't made for. They didn't
Yeah.
make it for us with intending for us to wear it. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear you.
And every day, more and more, the layers are being peeled back on that, and these companies and these corporations that are racist, that do not support
Sure.
the community and the people that buy it. Because I don't know about here, but in the States, like for people of black and brown color, we keep, as far as like keeping our money in our community, it's gone within 6 hours. Where you have
Sure.
other cultures, you have our Asian brothers and
Yeah.
sisters, you have our Jewish brothers and sisters, you have these different cultures where there's a structure where they keep it within their community for 25, 28
yeah.
days.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's true, I
But
hear
one
you.
thing that I've noticed coming to the continent is that our brothers and sisters here, they support each other. You know what I mean? Not
We
just
have to.
not just musically. And when I look on the billboard and that they make it clear that if you're gonna come here and sell your product, you're gonna have people of black and brown color on the billboards.
Yeah.
If you're gonna come here and have a company, 51% of it is going to be allocated to people in black and brown color. People
We have
of
to
black and brown.
support. Yeah, we have
so
to. Yeah.
so it's interesting to see that here versus what happens, where I'm quote unquote from and born.
Yeah.
And what I've experienced. So, get used to seeing me here. Get used to. I'm looking forward to working with all the wonderful artists
That's
here,
awesome. That's
producers, and bridging the gap on the culture musically. But also, again, it's very important to me as a humanitarian, as someone who loves children, who understands the need for education. Just in the field of what I do. As a musician, maybe they want to know how they can get into that and bringing and coming back.
Mentorship,
Yeah,
basically.
coming back and mentorship
Cool.
and coming back with some of my partners.
Cool.
The well-known entertainers and DJs and performers that can speak to what we did and how we did it. If we don't create that platform and show them, they don't know. Because I don't want them to think that to get that one-dimensional culture of like, and this is nothing against like trap music or anything, because I love Amigo, I love you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you have to be able to be aware and understand perception versus reality, and giving them more than one aspect of it. Life ain't just about the buckle on your belt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
It's more to it, and understanding entertainment, and but also, building black wealth.
Yeah.
Globally.
Building black wealth.
Yeah.
Raheem, you are a man with wisdom, and I always say a man with wisdom brings growth, and you've really been so insightful. You've taught me things as well today. And I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your time as well.
Welcome to South Africa.
Thank you.
Once more, and I hope it's not the last time we see you and
I
have
hope
you
not
on our
as
show,
well.
Ritevac TV, So thank you, guys. Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Get his album. You heard it right here on Ritevac TV.
And follow me on Instagram.
Follow on Instagram.
At Raheem
Yes.
_DeVaughn. I'm trying to get my followers up on the continent. Please follow me, holla at me, engage, comment in the pictures. Twitter, Instagram, Raheem _DeVaughn. Get at me, all right? RAHEEM _DEVAUGHN. I can't wait to hear from you. Once you check out the album, of course, all right? Decade of a Love King.
You heard it right here, guys. Do the right thing. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank
Love
you.
life. Yeah.
Awesome.